What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 13 of That's No Moon Pod. We actually have quite a bit to talk about today. I think, as you may know, like a lot of the world knows right now, there's been some crazy things going on with military jets, fighter pilots shooting down not just one, but as of right now, we have multiple objects being shot down in North America, 4 to be exact. Last week it was the Chinese spy balloon flying across across America, and they waited to shoot it down once it got over a body of water. That way the Chinese spy balloon wouldn't, just fall down onto someone's house or hurt somebody down below. So they waited until it was over water before they shot it down. But it was identified as a Chinese spy balloon relatively quickly. And they were able to recover, I believe, most of the spy balloons so far. I don't think they've recovered about, all of it, like 100% of the spy balloon, but I believe they've gotten at least 60 to 70% of it so far. And that was last week. And then here comes this past week, where over the weekend there were reports of a cylindrical object, I believe, being shot down in Alaska. And it was just kind of weird, especially after the Chinese spy balloon had gotten shot down. Here comes this other report saying that there was also a cylindrical object with no views of how it could be using its propulsion. They said it was pretty tiny. I think they said about the size of a small car. And they shot it down. And that was in Alaska. And then I think only 2 days later, or not even, maybe a day, the next day, another object was shot down by the Canadians. Trudeau and Biden, they both talked it through real quick and said, yeah, shoot it down. And keep in mind, right, with all these so far, the Chinese spy balloon was the only one that had gotten recovered, at least partially. But these two, the Canadian and the Alaskan ones, have yet to be recovered, or even fully identified, it seems like, at this point. They're saying that it's due to like bad weather. It is probably very icy, snowy, all that, where these two objects were shot down. I don't know, it's just weird though to me that, you're having this this mission to shoot down these balloons or objects, I guess. That's what they kept saying on the news. They just kept calling them objects. There isn't a full-on kind of plan for recovery afterwards. I mean, they're just pretty much saying, yes, send them up, shoot them down, and then we'll deal with the rest later. It just seems kind of odd that they would, not have any sort of identification on what they could be, on more of a like a description on what they look like, the size of them, maybe just the color, if there is any color to them. But then after the Canadian UAP shoot down, the next day, I believe, another one was shot down over the Great Lakes, here in the United States, up by Lake Huron. And those lakes are pretty big spaces of water, for sure. On YouTube, you could look up the flight controls of the fighter jet, the pilots, and you kind of hear them talking over like what they're gonna do, and you hear their play-by-play over the mission and how they're gonna execute it, and you could hear the pilot say, because he's flying by the object really fast. For our aircraft, we can't just hover in one spot while just somehow levitating in the air. We have to kind of continue moving just at a slower rate, just to really slow down while we're up there. But so anyways, you can hear the pilot talking as he's flying by it, and he's kind of saying that it's really small. It's like the size of a four-wheeler, like an ATV. And they actually said that it was, I believe, hexagonal. So it looked like it had some kind of different shape to it. Wasn't any flying saucer or like an orb or cylindrical, kind of like the ones that have been all over the news lately. The one in Canada, I want to say that was cylindrical, or maybe they haven't even said anything about that one yet, or they have no identification so far of these objects, which sounds crazy to me. And the one in Alaska was a cylindrical shaped. So then this one over the Great Lakes in Lake Huron is octagonal. And supposedly they missed the first attempt of trying to shoot down this object. So then they had to do it again. They missed one shot, whether it was due to just the object being so tiny, I guess. Maybe getting a lock on it wasn't as strong, or wasn't as easy to do as maybe they thought. I don't think it necessarily dodged it or, bobbed and weaved one of our missiles from our jets, but I think it might have been just more of a, ratio with the size and them trying to, you know, get it out with one shot. But who knows? I don't know. That's gotta be a lot of pressure for a fighter pilot to, you know, you kind of know the stakes of it, even though it's not a, you know, the craziest mission ever. You're kind of just sent up to shoot down something floating up there, and then, well, I bet the pressure's still on, you know, when you're executing a mission, regardless of what it is. So at the end of the day, they are still humans up there flying our jets, and they're the best in the biz. But every now and then, I could see them not hitting their target. So I'm not saying the object necessarily dodged it or can sense their fire coming. I think it could have just been a misfire. Was still kind of strange at the same time. I believe they said in the Canadian, I believe it was the Canadian UFO shoot down, where they said the object seemed to have affected their radar or their communication system somehow. I don't know to what extent, but that's something that the fighter pilots had reported, that something was kind of messing with their systems somehow. And I'm pretty sure that's a serious thing to them if something ends up, you know, whatever the object is, if it seemed to have some kind of effect on our fighter jets, then I think the world should be pretty curious on what exactly is being shot down so frequently, it seems now. I kind of feel like everyone's kind of looking at these latest UAP, UFO shoot downs and coming straight off of the Chinese spy balloon being shot down. Everyone's kind of, you know, thinking, oh, it's probably China balloons or some kind of maybe Russian spy balloons now, or we're just kind of finally, you know, shooting them down now instead of just letting things float around in our space. Because I don't know if... Because obviously, with this type of topic, it automatically goes into the, is it an alien invasion type of news report, you know, or is this proof of UFOs or aliens or extraterrestrials? And it just automatically gets caught up into that whole, you know, the whole kind of just putting it into that same category where it automatically kind of turns into a joke once you start talking about it, especially like on live TV, on CNN or wherever you listen to your news. They kind of a lot of times just make it into a joke right away once they throw in the whole alien extraterrestrial card. Neil deGrasse Tyson went on CNN last night, and I was watching him. They were asking him about these shoot downs, these objects, and right away I'm like, why would they ask Neil deGrasse Tyson to come on and talk about UFOs on national television? Because if you know Neil deGrasse Tyson, and who he is and kind of what his mindset is on the whole alien UFO topic. He's very scientific in his beliefs, which is obvious. You can't blame him for it. It's like all he's done and what he knows. But it seems like his reasoning for not maybe fully accepting the possibility, I think it kind of just stems from him being so, what's actually can be proven scientifically. And so to him, the UFOs or the UAPs automatically didn't do anything for him necessarily. He just thinks there could have just been some balloons, right? But I don't know. I'd like to think that there's way more to it, especially with how trained with seeing our pilots are, being in the sky so much. They kind of seen what there is to be seen up there. I'd like to think maybe they've also seen a lot of balloons during training and can kind of pinpoint and detect what a certain spy balloon probably looks like. So yeah, I like to go off what they seen and what they say, rather than Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of giving his opinion on nothing really. He kind of just went up there on CNN and said a whole lot of nothing, to be honest. He's not the guy to be necessarily representing the UFO, UAP community. I think there's a lot better people out there that could have, gave a better sense on what exactly could be going on instead of just making a joke out of it like usual. But I don't know, I mean, if you ask me, what do I think is going on? What do I think they are? I think it's way too obvious that they're not saying anything for whatever reason. They're withholding a bunch of information that they have to already have known by now. Whether it's what it looks like, what color is it, how big is it, the shape, anything like that. They have to have had some kind of way of knowing where it's at once we shot it down and how we can get to it. As of today, they still haven't come out and given us any kind of vivid detail on what exactly everything is and what's going on and why we're all of a sudden just shooting down these these random UFOs flying around. Because it seems like our military has always kind of known about UFOs and UAPs and probably see them flying around all the time in certain bodies of water or around their bases. And maybe they've tracked them before, but just never fully executed a mission to actually go and shoot one down. It's possible maybe they're kind of using it as some kind of way of just us intimidating other countries. It could be some way of, since we shot down the Chinese spy balloon, they're kind of using all these other shoot downs as a way of, just making sure everyone kind of stays put and don't try anything stupid. And maybe they're just trying to keep everyone from freaking out too much, obviously, but also kind of using it in their advantage, to kind of control the narrative and to what exactly comes out. Because again, for them to be taking this long with giving us this information, I just don't think it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are confused as to why they're withholding information and kind of not keeping us updated on it. I don't believe that they haven't recovered any sort of debris from any of these objects yet. I think there's just no way, especially the one over Lake Huron. I'm just not sure exactly what's going on or what they're going to say. I think that's the most curious part about all this, is what exactly are they going to say, right? Once they finally do. But this has just been the hot topic of discussion within the UFO community. Probably one of the biggest type of stories that come out in a while, just because it's so worldwide at this point. And it just seems like things are getting pretty interesting in the community. Again, I don't know what they could be. My best bet would probably be some form of either drone, or they could just be other types of spy balloons or weather balloons, possibly. Because again, the details have been so vague, saying that the only thing that throws me off is just some of the shapes that they've reported of the cylindrical one and the hexagonal one. Those are the ones that really kind of make me think, okay, it could be some kind of form of technology that we're trying to keep a secret, or someone's trying to keep a secret. I don't necessarily think that there's a 3-foot gray alien in each one of these things, because I believe they've all been reported to be unmanned or no pilot inside of these things, so they're able to detect that kind of stuff. But everything else just kind of seems to be pushed to the side. I don't know, it's weird. I was kind of thinking into the idea of maybe, because there's a lot of people that say that these objects kind of just tend to appear, whether it's it's like them kind of turning on a light or turning off a light to disappear. I know there have been some where they kind of seem to look like a shooting star, kind of. It's like how fast they're traveling, and then just stop right on a dime. But I think the ones that kind of just tend to appear and disappear may just kind of be on a different, whole different wavelength than us. Maybe they just have some kind of way of accessing either a portal or other dimensions. I don't think it's out of the possibility for their kind of technology to somehow access different realities, or maybe they just find some kind of way to stay hidden with whatever form of propulsion that they use. And to us, we just don't have the senses to detect them unless we kind of just get we're kind of just getting a glimpse of them in our world when we see them. But to them, they're not thinking exactly when we could see them, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They could be interdimensional. They could be flying so fast they just space travel, I like to think that there's more to it than just, spy balloons or random drones. It all just seems too. I don't know. It just all seems too fishy, and the government and the military definitely aren't helping out with, it feeling so eerie still. But hopefully they come up with some answers for us soon. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world already. And it would just be nice for some clarity. And then I guess we'll kind of decide whether or not we think they're telling the truth, or maybe they come out and say the full truth, saying, yeah, it's a UAP. It's an object that we don't know how it can fly. We don't know where it came from. This and that. They kind of give us the little rundown of it being some sort of advanced technology, and I think that's like all in all of our dream worlds for them to come out and say something like that. But I doubt that that's actually what's gonna happen. I think they're gonna keep it close to the vest and not really let out too much information, and just kind of leak it out slowly, and just try to let us continue going with our lives without starting any panic. Sadly, I think that's kind of what's going to happen. But hopefully not. I'm wishing for the best. Yeah, I think something's definitely going on, and something's definitely being held from the public on purpose. So only time will tell, I guess, for now. Yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts on that. There's still so much that's yet to be found out. So until more details come out on all this, there's really not a whole lot much to say, I guess. But hopefully we get more soon. I wanted to talk about The Last of Us real quick, from, I believe it was episode 5. They released this episode a couple days early on Friday because of the Super Bowl. which is also why I think kind of the UFO news stories and um, that train derailing in Ohio and spilling all those chemicals in the air. I think the Super Bowl kind of took over a lot of the news cycle over the weekend. And that kind of took everyone's mind off of what exactly was going on. Everyone was kind of just worried about, getting drunk and eating a bunch of food on a holiday. But anyways, this last episode of The Last of Us, I really dug the episode, especially with how they left us on that cliffhanger from the last one where Ellie and Joel are sleeping. They get woken up by two kids, and they got them at gunpoint, and so you kind of just wonder what exactly goes on from there. And this episode was probably I don't know if it's my favorite. It's probably my second favorite, just because the only problem I have with this episode and kind of the last episode was the that woman that was in charge of that group of those like not the Fedras, but like that woman who's the leader of that whole crew that runs Kansas City or whatever. I don't know what it was about the way she was like portraying that character or whatever, because from what I heard, it's like a new character like for the show. Like she was never in the game. But I just was not really vibing with the way she was portraying it. I just kind of found it like, I thought it was kind of like annoying. That's just the way I found it. So every time she would kind of come on screen, I would just kind of fast forward through her parts, because the best parts of these episodes were for sure Bill and Joel and Henry and Henry's little brother, and kind of them trying to get out of the city. Had a lot of cool moments between Joel and Ellie still. It was cool to see their bond and their trust kind of at full force, I would say, at this point now. Joel asks if he trusts her, and she nods quickly, and she knows that, Joel's not just the only one she could pretty much trust, but she knows that he's a safe bet. He'll get the job done, and he'll do what needs to be done. She knows that from him. It was cool to kind of see him be taking out all those guys with the sniper. It was a real emotional scene. At the end, a lot of emotional scenes in this episode. But just awesome storytelling. It kind of reminded me a lot of Logan. Kind of just how that movie takes its twists and turns with emotions and violence and action, and but overall just good storytelling. Yeah, still loving the show. Easily the best show on TV right now, if you're asking me. And yeah, I'm stoked for the next one for sure. There's been a couple other things in the news floating around. Because sadly, the whole UFO, UAP thing isn't, it's not like the hottest topic when it comes to publicity, I would think. But I still do think that everyone knows about it. But during the Super Bowl, they dropped the Flash trailer and the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer. And both those movies look so sick. I watched each trailer multiple times already. I do kind of feel like they gave away a little too much in both of the trailers, to be honest. Like in the Flash trailer, honestly, I didn't know that like Zod was gonna be in there. I didn't know officially that Supergirl was gonna be in there. I had known that Michael Keaton was supposed to be coming back in the Flash because he had already came back in that Batgirl movie that got canned. So I was just kind of waiting to see Michael Keaton Batman in the trailer. I didn't even know that they were going to show Batfleck in the trailer, but it seems like he has a decent role in the movie as well. But the trailer got me super hyped regardless. That movie looks awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks awesome. I'm hoping Rocket don't die. We got Ant-Man this week coming out. So yeah, things are looking pretty exciting. Mando season 3 in a couple weeks. Let's get it. Yeah, a lot of things to be looking forward to, I gotta say. It seems like it's gonna be nonstop with different news stories and different TV shows and movies coming out, but I'm excited. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for whoever's listening and watching this. Like and subscribe. Follow me on IG and on Twitch at Admire My Moonsault. I'll be playing Hogwarts Legacy. And I'll probably throw in a few other games in there as well. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all be safe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.